They speak of a homeland of the primeval ones, like Atlantis. Ooh, archaeologists hate the word Atlantis. Because they've proved that Atlantis could never have existed, even though they have not looked at the parts of the world that need to be looked at. The huge areas of the Earth where only minimal archaeological investigations have ever been carried out. Well, the Sahara Desert, for example. Yes, there's been some archaeology in the Sahara Desert, but not very much.
Are we secure on the dating of all the structures above water on Malta? And I suggest strongly that we're not.
Yeah.
There are very few carbon dates from Malta, and the new dating work that's been done there hasn't added usefully to that database. Been very little carbon dating done on the Maltese temples. And that carbon dating is itself insecure. Malta used to be joined to Sicily during the Ice Age. Malta wasn't an island, it was part of the mainland.
Yeah.
Imagine standing before structures that predate the Great Pyramids and Stonehenge, shrouded in mystery and built by a civilization lost to time.
I believe that's the time where we lost track of an episode in our story, where we lost track of an earlier civilization.
Welcome to the megalithic temples of Malta, some of the oldest freestanding structures on Earth. These architectural marvels are not only masterpieces of ancient engineering, but also portals into the past of a sophisticated society whose understanding of astronomy continues to intrigue scholars and scientists.
A deep understanding of astronomy that could only be gained through hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years of very careful observation.
Join us as we explore the secrets these stone giants hold, revealing insights into a world both ancient and astonishingly advanced. Despite their historical and architectural significance, these ancient temples were not recognized for their true value until the late 19th century. Before this period, local awareness of their antiquity was minimal, and preservation was not considered a priority. Throughout earlier centuries, the temples suffered from local farming and building practices that led to significant deterioration. Stones from these structures were frequently removed and repurposed for new construction projects.
A lot of archaeology that gets done doesn't get done because of a targeted search. It may be because a dam is being built or a new highway is being built.
The first documented mention of the temples appeared in Jean-Quentin d'Autin's 1536 publication Insulae Militae Descriptio, which noted the existence of ancient ruins on Malta, though detailed archaeological interest would only take shape much later. Dating from 3600 BC to 2500 BC, these temples are older than both Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids. Recognizing their profound historical and cultural significance, several of the temples were designated as UNESCO World Heritage Sites in 1980. This recognition was a crucial step in ensuring their preservation and promoting further scholarly research and public awareness. Systematic studies and excavations of these sites began in earnest in the early 20th century with Sir Themistocles Zamet, a man of many talents including archaeology, medicine, history, and curation. Starting around 1905, Zamet's extensive archaeological work marked a significant pivot towards the scientific exploration of these structures. His efforts established a chronological framework for the construction and usage of the temples, greatly enhancing our understanding of prehistoric Maltese culture.
A lost civilization of prehistoric antiquity.
Zamet's findings not only attracted international scholarly interest, but also helped increase tourism, bringing additional funding and support for further studies. Among his discoveries were numerous artifacts, including pottery, tools, and the iconic Fat Lady figurines, thought to represent a fertility goddess or a maternal figure. Continuing from the fascinating historical backdrop and archaeological discoveries, the megalithic temples of Malta are not just ancient architectural marvels. They are sophisticated structures that intricately reflect the socio-religious fabric of the society that constructed them. Their design demonstrates an advanced knowledge of stonework and astronomy. The temples are renowned for their unique trefoil layout, which consists of 3 semicircular chambers connected by a central corridor. This design is not only unique to Maltese temple architecture, but is also laden with symbolic meanings. It could represent various stages of life, celestial bodies, or deities from local mythology, with the repetition of the number 3 perhaps signifying a sacred or divine principle in their cosmology. Functionally, these chambers likely serve diverse ritualistic or communal purposes, each possibly dedicated to different aspects of life or deities. The layout itself facilitates processional movements, which are believed to have been part of the ritual activities conducted within these sacred spaces. Moreover, the orientation and layout of the temples are marked by astronomical precision. For instance, the Manadra South Temple aligns with the equinox sunrise, allowing light to flood the main corridor and central chambers at specific times of the year. This dramatic interplay of light and shadows could have been crucial for marking seasonal changes and regulating ceremonial calendars.
There was a highly sophisticated knowledge of the precession of the equinoxes, that it's impossible to trace how far back it goes.
The choice of temple locations also takes into account visual and environmental factors, such as line of sight to important landscape features, horizon visibility for astronomical observations, and protection from prevailing winds, showing a sophisticated integration of architecture with the natural landscape. The structural engineering techniques used in the temples also reveal the builders' innovative approaches. The use of corbelling, where stones are laid horizontally and each successive layer extends slightly beyond the one below, allowed the creation of self-supporting domed or vaulted structures. This early form of arch construction, predating Roman arches, illustrates their advanced engineering capabilities. Additionally, the flexibility inherent in the corbelling and the interlocking of megaliths without mortar could have provided some resistance to seismic activity, an important consideration given Malta's location within the Mediterranean seismic belt. The decorative elements of the temples further enrich their architectural sophistication. Elaborate carvings and reliefs, including spirals, animal figures, and plant motifs, are deeply engraved into the limestone. These decorations are not merely ornamental, they are imbued with symbolic meanings, possibly representing fertility, the cycle of life, or a connection to nature. Artifacts such as the famous Fat Lady sculptures and other statuettes found in and around the temples suggest that these sites also served as focal points for art and culture. Additionally, traces of red ochre found on some temple walls indicate that color was used either to enhance certain carvings or to demarcate special areas within the temples, adding another layer to the sophisticated aesthetic and ceremonial aspects of the temple architecture. The construction techniques used in the megalithic temples of Malta further highlight the advanced engineering of their creators. The construction of these ancient temples showcases an exceptional mastery of various techniques that have contributed to their preservation through millennia.
I can't help thinking time capsule, that there was an intention to preserve this.
One of the most critical materials in the construction of these temples is Globigerina limestone, a sedimentary rock predominant in the Maltese archipelago. Notably soft when freshly quarried, this limestone allowed artisans to carve intricate details and shape the stones with relative ease. As the limestone is exposed to air, it undergoes a hardening process due to the gradual evaporation of inherent moisture and crystallization of minerals. This transformation significantly enhances the resilience and longevity of the structures. The intricate carvings on the temple walls, including spiral designs and animal figures, attest to the high level of craftsmanship and the advanced tools and techniques employed during their creation. The logistics involved in moving and assembling massive limestone blocks, some weighing several tons, were formidable. Theories suggest that the builders might have used log rollers, stone balls, or sledges made from tree trunks, often lubricated with plant oils or animal fats to reduce friction. This suggests a highly organized society with clear hierarchies and labor specialization, capable of coordinating large-scale construction efforts. There is also evidence to suggest that ramps made from earth or smaller stones were used to position these large blocks, similar to techniques used in other ancient civilizations. Moreover, the temples exemplify an advanced use of mortarless construction. Builders employed a technique of cutting and fitting stones so precisely that no mortar was needed to hold them together. This dry stone technique, known for its durability and flexibility in seismic activity, involves crafting joints that interlock without gaps. The lack of mortar not only prevents erosion, but also allows the structures to breathe during earthquakes, enabling the stones to shift slightly and settle back without causing structural damage, a technique that has proven effective in other earthquake-prone regions like those encountered by Inca architects. It's fascinating to draw parallels and contrast these ancient marvels with other legendary structures like Machu Picchu. Both sites utilize mortarless construction techniques, which not only exemplifies the precision of stone cutting in ancient times, but also ensures the stability and longevity of these structures. This shared approach underlines a profound understanding of stone properties and structural engineering across two very different cultures. However, the cultural contexts and geographical settings of the megalithic temples and Machu Picchu are distinctly different. The temples in Malta were primarily religious structures. In contrast, Machu Picchu likely served a dual purpose as both a royal estate and a religious retreat, possibly. Geographically, the Maltese temples are nestled on a small island terrain, whereas Machu Picchu sits high in the Andes Mountains. These differences reflect how each culture adapted its architectural styles and techniques to fit its environment and societal needs. During World War II, Malta's strategic position in the Mediterranean made it a prime target, leading to heavy bombings. The value of the megalithic temples was recognized during these turbulent times, prompting significant protective measures. One notable method was the sand covering technique used at sites like Hagar Kim, where heaps of earth and sand were piled over the temples to cushion the impact of bomb blasts and prevent damage from flying debris. While this method helped prevent direct damage during air raids, it also introduced challenges like moisture retention, which could accelerate erosion of the stonework. After the war, extensive surveys and careful removal of sand were necessary to assess any damage and prevent further stress on the ancient stones. These ongoing research and conservation efforts are vital for sustaining the legacy of the megalithic temples of Malta, allowing future generations to marvel at these testaments to human ingenuity and resilience.
To people who aren't aware, there's a location in the Western Sahara Desert of Mauritania called the Richat structure. It's also commonly referred to as the Eye of the Sahara. And what's so spectacular about this is that it just so happens to match more than a dozen striking similarities to what Plato had described as the lost ancient capital city of Atlantis.
Have you ever heard of the Eye of the Sahara? Officially known as the Richat structure, this geological wonder is something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Because archaeologists roll their eyes every time you say the word Atlantis. But that is precisely the date that Plato gives for the destruction of Atlantis.
Picture this. A giant, almost circular dome sprawling 40 kilometers across the Sahara. So massive it's visible from space, but it's not just its size that's mind-blowing. The Richat structure's beauty lies in its complexity, especially its mesmerizing concentric rings. These rings aren't your regular circles. They're like fingerprints, each one unique in width, composition, and how time and the elements have worn them down. It's as if nature itself was playing architect, crafting a masterpiece over millions of years through erosion.
It is a site that most people have never seen or heard of before, which is truly peculiar because it's so spectacular.
Wind and water have sculpted this dome layer by layer, revealing a range of rings that tell a story of resilience and transformation. Now let's delve into what makes up this stunning structure.
And what I'm focusing on is the lost capital city, which was said to be made up of concentric circles, 3 of water, 2 of land, which matches the Richat structure.
The outermost rings boast Proterozoic quartzite, a rock so tough and ancient it's been around for over 600 million years. Imagine that. Quartzite starts off as sandstone and undergoes a metamorphosis with heat and pressure, emerging as this incredibly hard rock. Move inward, and the materials shift to softer, sedimentary rocks like limestone, which forms in marine environments, and sandstone, composed of tiny mineral grains. At the heart of the Richat structure, there's a fascinating mix called siliceous breccia, essentially a jumble of angular rock fragments bonded together, often found in volcanic areas or places with a lot of geological action. The Richat structure is not just a feast for the eyes, it's a geologist's dream. The variety of rock types and the formation's history offer a rare glimpse into the Earth's geological processes. When you dive into the origins of the Richat structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, you're essentially unpacking a geological mystery that's been in the making for millions of years. At the heart of this mystery is the uplifted dome theory. which geologists lean towards when explaining how this stunning feature came to be. Imagine the Earth's crust getting a gentle nudge from below, creating a bulge on the surface. Over eons, wind and water went to work on this dome, chiseling away at it. But here's the catch, not all rocks are made the same. Some are tougher, others are softer, so they didn't all erode at the same pace. This selective erosion crafted the Richat structure's iconic concentric rings, each layer telling a story of resilience and time. But wait, there's a twist in the tale thanks to Jimmy Corsetti.
The question becomes, is it big enough to be a city with possibly millions of people? Because the way it was described is that it was a city that was said to be busy all day, all night, rich in trade, with languages spoken from all over.
He floats a rather intriguing idea that maybe, just maybe, ancient humans had a hand in sculpting the Richat structure. While this leans more towards speculation, it's a fascinating thought that adds a pinch of mystery to an already captivating story. Now let's talk about the Sahara Desert, the Richat structure's vast, arid home. This desert environment, with its relentless wind erosion, has been a key player in shaping the structure. But remember, the Sahara wasn't always a desert.
And what people don't realize is that Sahara Africa, up until about 4,500 to 5,000 years ago, was totally green.
It has seen its fair share of climatic roller coasters over millions of years, each phase leaving its mark on the rate and style of erosion at the site. The rocks at the Richat structure are ancient historians, some dating back over 600 million years, offering a glimpse into the Earth's early days, continental drifts, and the dawn of life. The creation of the Richat structure wasn't an overnight affair. It was a marathon of geological activity, from the shifting of tectonic plates to the whims of climate change, all contributing to the structure's unique appearance. Erosion played the role of the sculptor, methodically revealing the different layers of rock beneath. One of the most striking aspects of the Richat structure is its near-perfect circular pattern, a feature so distinctive that astronauts use it as a space landmark.
Even if you went to Mauritania, so you could see this from space, astronauts use it as a locator, and they weren't really familiar or aware of it until the Gemini missions in the early 1960s.
It's a mesmerizing pattern that stands out in the vastness of the Sahara. Plato's tales of Atlantis, nestled within his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, really do spark the imagination, don't they? Written in the 4th century BC, at a time when Athens was basking in its golden era of philosophy and culture, Plato wasn't just any philosopher. He was a master of exploring deep concepts about society, ethics, and the nature of reality itself. Through these dialogues, it's like he's engaging in a spirited chat, using his characters to weave through various ideas and viewpoints. Then there's Atlantis, this mythical island city that Plato claimed existed beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we commonly associate with the Strait of Gibraltar today. He didn't hold back on the details, portraying Atlantis as a gargantuan landmass, outstripping the size of Libya and Asia put together. The description of its layout is nothing short of fascinating, featuring a series of concentric rings of land and sea that would have required an extraordinary feat of engineering to construct, with its elaborate canals and bridges. At the core of Atlantis was its fertile central plain, a farmer's dream, encircled by towering mountains that offered both a wealth of resources and a natural fortress. But the allure of Atlantis extended beyond its geography. Plato painted a picture of a city flush with resources and technological prowess, boasting an abundance of metals like the enigmatic orichalcum, alongside gold and silver. The infrastructure was ahead of its time, complete with sophisticated water systems, majestic temples, grand palaces, and bustling docks. Yet Atlantis was more than its physical attributes. Plato envisioned a society with a rich tapestry of laws, traditions, and governance, underpinned by a formidable military might. However, as the narrative unfolds, Atlantis transitions from a utopian exemplar to a cautionary tale of corruption and decline, ultimately leading to its downfall. This story, layered with intricate details and moral undertones, continues to captivate and fuel the imagination, a testament to Plato's enduring legacy. While there's a resemblance to Plato's Atlantis, the geographical settings throw us for a loop. The Richat structure sits in the heart of the Sahara, far from the Atlantic Ocean, where Atlantis was said to be.
But another little detail that most people aren't aware of, because they think of Atlantis like, oh, it must be at the bottom of the ocean. Well, that's not exactly how Plato worded it. Like, a lot of people see the Sahara Desert And they don't realize that this place was unbelievably different than it is today.
This discrepancy hasn't stopped theorists from suggesting that perhaps the Sahara's landscape was vastly different in the past, possibly even near water, or more hospitable than today's arid expanse. The Eye of the Sahara isn't just a geological wonder, it's a treasure trove of archaeological finds that shed light on ancient human life. Stone tools scattered around the area, including arrowheads, scrapers, and axes, tell tales of hunting and crafting. Pottery fragments whisper secrets of domestic life, indicating a significant leap in cultural and technological evolution. But it's the remnants of potential permanent settlements that really pique our curiosity, suggesting that this wasn't merely a waypoint for nomads, but a home for a settled community. The rock art adorning cliff faces and cave interiors near the Richat structure is nothing short of mesmerizing. These paintings and engravings, featuring animals like antelopes and elephants, transport us to a time when the Sahara thrived with life. Human figures and abstract designs depicted in these artworks offer glimpses into the social, cultural, and possibly spiritual lives of these ancient peoples. The rock art adorning cliff faces and cave interiors near the Richat structure is nothing short of mesmerizing. These archaeological discoveries are not just remnants of a bygone era, they're pieces of a puzzle that help us piece together the story of human existence and evolution in the Sahara. They speak of adaptation and resilience in the face of climatic shifts that transformed a once lush region into the vast desert we see today. The prospect of permanent settlements, while still under investigation, opens new chapters in the story of African prehistory, enriching our understanding of early human societies on this diverse continent. It's a testament to the power of the past, and how even the smallest clues can illuminate the vast tapestry of human history.
If you have a relatively short time frame to deal with, then searching for a lost civilization becomes much more complex and much more difficult. But if you have a very long time frame to deal with, there's much more material to investigate.
Was the city of Petra always known as Petra? From the Bible, we learn that the oldest name for Petra is Seir.
Beneath the rose-red cliffs of Petra, an ancient city carved into sandstone holds mysteries that have puzzled scientists for centuries.
First organization of human beings that deserved to be called a civilization.
Recent discoveries in this lost city have surprised experts, challenging our understanding of ancient civilizations. As shadows reveal new celestial alignments on the grand facades and columns during the equinox, we are left wondering, what secrets do the stones of Petra still hold?
I don't think we're looking at coincidence here. There's too much going on. I think coincidence is a very weak explanation for what's happening.
The story of Petra, often called the Lost City, stretches back to as early as the 4th century BCE, when it was founded and rose to prominence by the 1st century BCE as the capital of the Nabatean kingdom. Nestled in the cliffs of vibrant red, white, pink, and sandstone, Petra was at the heart of a bustling trade empire. Its strategic location on the spice trade routes connected it with far-flung regions from China and India to southern Arabia, and onto Egypt, Syria, Greece, and Rome.
You go to Egypt and you'll find influence of the Nabateans. Everywhere we look, we find some reference at some time to the Nabateans.
The city thrived not just commercially but culturally and architecturally, demonstrating advanced techniques in water conservation. Its engineers crafted an intricate system of dams, cisterns, and water channels that sustained both the city's population and its agriculture through harsh desert conditions. However, following its annexation by Rome in 106 CE, Petra began to experience a slow decline. Initially, it flourished under Roman influence, but as trade routes shifted towards the sea and devastating earthquakes struck in the 4th and 6th centuries, the city gradually lost its former glory. By the time the Islamic conquests swept through in the 7th century, Petra was reduced to a shadow of its former self, mainly inhabited by a few local Bedouin tribes who lived among the ruins and closely guarded its secrets. Throughout the Middle Ages and well into the 18th century, Petra remained enveloped in obscurity, particularly to the Western world. The Crusaders controlled the region briefly in the 12th century, and even established a fortress there, but knowledge of Petra's once grandeur was limited to local tribes and a few knowledgeable Arab scholars. The renowned 14th century explorer Ibn Battuta mentioned Petra during his travels, describing it as a remote place with buildings impressively carved into rock faces. This period in Petra's history mirrors that of another ancient city, Machu Picchu in Peru, which also remained hidden from Western awareness until its rediscovery in 1911 by Hiram Bingham. Both cities were advanced in manipulating their natural environments, Petra with its sophisticated water management systems, and Machu Picchu with its terraced fields and intricate urban planning. The prolonged European ignorance of Petra lasted until the 19th century, with the region fading into the realm of myth and legend. Many in Europe were completely unaware of Petra's existence, despite ancient texts hinting at the architectural marvels that lay hidden in the Jordanian mountains. This mystery persisted until explorers reintroduced Petra to the Western world, bridging the gap between ancient lore and modern recognition. Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, born in 1784, was a Swiss traveler and scholar whose profound curiosity and academic prowess led him to significant contributions towards the Western understanding of lost or lesser-known ancient sites. Mastering multiple languages and immersing himself in various cultures, Burckhardt developed a particular fascination with Petra, an ancient city whose whereabouts had slipped from European knowledge. In preparation for his explorations within the Ottoman Empire, Burckhardt relocated to London in 1806, where he joined the African Association, an organization committed to the exploration and mapping of Africa. He further honed his expertise at Cambridge University, studying Arabic, geography, and the cultures of the Middle East. It was here that he meticulously constructed his alter ego, Sheikh Ibrahim ibn Abdallah. This identity was not just a cover to mask his European roots and exploratory motives, it was a deep dive into cultural assimilation, allowing him safer passage and a more authentic experience in predominantly Muslim territories. Burckhardt's journey to Petra began in 1812, framed as a pilgrimage to sacrifice at the tomb of the prophet Aaron on Mount Hor, which cleverly concealed his true intent to locate and document Petra. He had pieced together clues of the lost city from discussions with local traders and vague references in ancient manuscripts. His travels from Syria to the Arabian Peninsula were fraught with challenges, from regional conflicts to the unforgiving desert landscape, yet his guise as an Islamic scholar provided him crucial cover. Upon his arrival in Petra, Burckhardt was met with the breathtaking view of the Sikh, a narrow gorge stretching over a kilometer, flanked by towering walls as high as 80 meters. This passage led him to Petra's most famous and enigmatic structure, Al-Khazneh, or the Treasury. Carved directly into the blush-colored sandstone cliffs, its facade displayed an exquisite blend of Nabatean, Greek, and Roman architectural elements. Petra's entrance, known as the Sikh, is far more than just a gateway. It's an architectural wonder in its own right. This narrow gorge, carved directly from the towering sandstone cliffs, stretches for about 1.2 kilometers and varies in width from a mere 3 to 16 meters. As you walk through, the walls, which soar to heights of over 80 meters, dramatically frame your approach, guiding you towards the heart of Petra, ending at the magnificent Al-Khazneh. Along the Sikh, you'll notice a series of ancient water channels, a testament to the Nabateans' advanced hydraulic engineering skills. They devised these systems to capture and conserve the scarce desert rainwater. The strategic narrowness of the Sikh also offered a natural defense mechanism, much like the historic pass of Thermopylae in Greece, providing a fortified barrier against potential invaders. At the end of the Sikh stands Al-Khazneh, or the Treasury, which, despite its name, was likely built as a mausoleum or temple around the 1st century CE. This iconic structure is renowned for its stunning facade, decorated with a blend of Hellenistic architectural elements and native Nabatean motifs. It features a grand portico supported by 6 Corinthian columns and is adorned with intricate bas-reliefs, including depictions of Castor and Pollux, twin brothers who were revered in mythology for their role in protection and safety. The urn perched atop the facade fueled local legends, with Bedouins believing it concealed ancient treasures, hence the name the Treasury. This blend of myth and architecture draws parallels to the ornately decorated temples of the Egyptian pharaohs, which were also rich in cultural and mythological significance. Petra's architectural landscape is a rich mosaic of influences, reflecting its historical significance as a cultural and trading hub. The city's structures blend Nabatean rock-cut artistry with classical Greek, Roman, and later Byzantine styles. This fusion is visible not just on the facades but throughout the city's layout, which includes a Roman-style colonnaded street and a theatre capable of holding over 3,000 spectators. Carved directly from the rock, Petra's theatre echoes the design of ancient Greek theatres such as Epidaurus, yet it is uniquely Nabatean in its execution, showcasing their extraordinary skill in stone carving. This architectural diversity highlights the city's role as a melting pot of various civilizations throughout history, each leaving their mark on its stones and streets. Among the monumental structures in Petra, the monastery known as Ad Dea stands out for its architectural splendor akin to that of the treasury, yet it occupies a more secluded and solemn location. The journey to reach the monastery is an adventure in itself, involving a challenging climb of over 800 steps carved directly into the rock, which naturally limits the number of casual tourists who visit. Originally constructed as a Nabatean temple in the 3rd century BCE, the structure was later repurposed as a Christian chapel during the Byzantine period. Its facade, adorned with a massive urn and framed by towering columns, rivals the grandeur of the Parthenon in Athens. However, the isolation of the monastery adds a layer of spiritual retreat, contrasting with the civic pride of the Parthenon. Petra's allure as a mysterious and adventurous location was catapulted into popular culture by its appearance in the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The movie features Petra's treasury as the fictional entrance to the final resting place of the Holy Grail, which not only captured the imaginations of viewers worldwide, but also significantly boosted tourism to the site. This depiction in the film perfectly aligned with the themes of discovery and exploration, underscoring how media can dramatically shape the perception and economic realities of archaeological sites.
I mean, it's just crazy. We've talked about, alternative theories to how the pyramids were built.
Yeah. I'm willing to accept that the Great Pyramid was largely completed by the ancient Egyptians. But remember that the ancient Egyptians tell us in many of their texts that everything they knew was a legacy. It was all an inheritance of the gods, and I don't construe the gods as aliens.
Beneath the sands of modern-day Sudan and southern Egypt lies the story of a civilization whose architectural prowess rivaled that of the ancient Egyptians, the Nubians.
I think we're looking at hints and clues that something is missing in our story.
Known for constructing more pyramids than their northern neighbors, the Nubians created a kingdom of extraordinary wealth, culture, and power. But as the tides of history shifted, their grand structures were gradually reclaimed by the desert, and their story obscured by the sands of time.
I want to know what else is going to be found that hasn't been investigated yet at all. We're just touching the edge of a huge mystery.
Where did this great civilization go? And what secrets do their ancient cities and towering pyramids still hold? The Nubian civilization, nestled along the Nile River in what is now Sudan and southern Egypt, stands as one of Africa's oldest and most fascinating civilizations.
A great civilization that had been destroyed and that had left some survivors who had come to Egypt.
With a history that stretches back to the Neolithic period, Nubia is celebrated for its complex social structure, advanced architectural prowess, and dynamic interactions with ancient Egypt. The story of Nubia's exploration and its archaeological significance unfolds with intriguing depth, particularly when considering its ties to Egypt. During the 19th century, as European powers expanded their reach across Africa, scholars and archaeologists often accompanied colonial expeditions, initially focusing on the pharaonic marvels of Egypt due to their spectacular allure and global fascination. However, these explorers soon ventured into modern-day Sudan, where they uncovered the rich heritage of Nubia.
Yes, there's been some archaeology in the Sahara Desert, but not very much.
Richard Lepsius, a pioneering German Egyptologist, was one of the first to document Nubian antiquities extensively during his Prussian expedition from 1842 to 1845. His meticulous records and sketches provided a detailed overview of Nubian archaeological wealth, charting numerous sites including temples, tombs, and entire settlements previously unknown to the broader scholarly community. Yet these early explorations were not without their challenges. Adventurers faced harsh climates and political instability, and their initial perceptions of Nubia were often clouded by colonial biases, frequently underestimating the sophistication of the Nubian civilization in comparison to their northern neighbors, the Egyptians. Nubia's relationship with Egypt was marked by periods of both conflict and cooperation, with Nubian kings at times dominating Egypt, especially during the 25th dynasty, also known as the Nubian dynasty. This era is crucial for understanding the significant influence Nubians had on Egyptian politics, culture, and religion. Pharaoh Taharqa, a notable ruler of this dynasty, oversaw an era of considerable architectural and cultural achievements, with extensive building projects in both Egypt and Nubia. His contributions in Thebes and Karnak, showcasing a blend of Egyptian and Nubian artistic styles, are particularly well documented. The rediscovery of the Nubian dynasty has been pivotal, highlighting the Nubians not just as conquerors but as integrators who significantly enhanced the Egyptian state's infrastructure and cultural life. Turning our gaze to a broader horizon, comparing Nubia and Mesopotamia offers fascinating parallels. Both civilizations flourished around mighty rivers, the Nile for Nubia and the Tigris-Euphrates for Mesopotamia, providing the fertile ground that supported dense populations and the development of complex societies. Just as Nubia interacted with Egypt, Mesopotamia had dynamic relationships with its neighbors, engaging in both cultural exchanges and military conflicts. Architecturally, while Nubia is renowned for its pyramids and monumental temples, Mesopotamia is credited with the development of ziggurats and the pioneering use of brick as a primary building material. Both regions also developed their writing systems, with cuneiform in Mesopotamia and Meroitic scripts in Nubia, which were vital for administrative, religious, and cultural expressions, remaining crucial for archaeologists and historians in understanding these ancient societies.
If you wish to pass information to a distant future, you wouldn't be smart to just write it down. How can we know that our script is going to be readable by any other culture, let's say 10,000 years in the future?
George Reisner's pioneering archaeological work in Nubia at the beginning of the 20th century has dramatically enhanced our understanding of the ancient kingdom of Kush, shedding light on a civilization that was at various times a rival and a partner to ancient Egypt. As a professor at Harvard University, Reisner was dispatched by the Harvard University Museum of Fine Arts Boston expedition to delve into the historical mysteries of Egypt and Nubia. His investigations in Nubia were among the first to apply scientific archaeological methods in the region, establishing new standards for documenting the excavation process that would influence future archaeological endeavors. One of Reisner's most groundbreaking efforts was his excavation of Kerma, which he identified as a key cultural and political hub of the Kingdom of Kush. This discovery was particularly significant as Kerma's importance had previously been overshadowed by more well-known Egyptian sites. At Kerma, the most striking find was the Defufa, a towering mud brick structure that remains one of the largest and oldest of its kind in the world. Reisner suggested that the Defufa served a religious and possibly administrative function, a topic that continues to spark debate among scholars regarding its specific role. Further excavations at the royal cemeteries in Kerma unearthed a wealth of information about the burial customs of the Kushite elite. The tombs revealed a rich array of grave goods, including pottery, gold, and bronze artifacts, which spoke of a highly sophisticated culture with expansive trade networks. Additionally, evidence of human sacrifices at these sites suggested that the Kushites engaged in complex funerary rituals, underscoring the depth of their religious beliefs. The layout of Kerma, as uncovered by Reisner, indicated a highly organized urban center, complete with residential areas, production centers, and extensive fortifications. This insight provided a new perspective on the urban planning and architectural sophistication of the Kushite civilization, challenging the then prevailing notion that Nubian culture was perpetually subordinate to that of ancient Egypt. Instead, Reisner's findings highlighted the distinctiveness of the Nubian civilization and its ability to influence and control vast territories, including parts of Egypt at various times. Reisner's systematic approach to excavation and his rigorous documentation practices set new benchmarks in the field of archaeology. He was a pioneer in using stratigraphy for dating purposes, which allowed for a more accurate understanding of the chronological sequence of the sites he excavated. The legacy of his work continues to serve as a foundational resource for subsequent research on Nubia, inspiring generations of archaeologists to further explore the complexities of Nubian history and its interconnections with other ancient civilizations. As we continue to unravel the intricacies of this ancient society, Reisner's contributions remain invaluable, providing a robust framework for understanding not only Nubia's past, but also the broader narratives of ancient world histories. The rediscovery of Nubian pyramids and the archaeological efforts to save Nubian heritage in the wake of the Aswan High Dam's construction have provided profound insights into this ancient civilization.
Archaeology is often driven by accidental finds.
Yeah.
Maybe a road is going to be built, maybe a railway is going to be built. A lot of archaeological discoveries are made as a result of that.
Nubian pyramids offer a stark contrast to their Egyptian counterparts. These structures are characterized by their steep and narrow sides and much smaller bases, ranging from approximately 6 to 30 meters across, unlike Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza, which spans over 230 meters at its base. Constructed with stepped courses of horizontally laid stone blocks, Nubian pyramids typically feature a small chapel at the base facing east, housing offerings and a stele with inscriptions about the deceased. The burial practices within these pyramids reveal a lot about the Nubians. These pyramids were not just final resting places, but also a testament to the wealth and power of the Kushite royalty and elites, reflecting a hierarchy and religious practices influenced by, yet distinct from, Egyptian traditions. Moreover, the art and hieroglyphic inscriptions on the walls of these pyramids offer critical insights into the religious beliefs and daily life of the Kushites, often including prayers and spells similar to those found in Egyptian texts, but adapted to local contexts and deities, highlighting the syncretic nature of Nubian religion. Continuing on the theme of comparisons, looking at Nubian and Mayan pyramids side by side offers fascinating insights. Both civilizations built pyramids, yet their purposes and designs reflect different cultural priorities and environmental conditions. Nubian pyramids, primarily serving as tombs for royalty, featured steep sides and narrow bases and were constructed of stone. In contrast, Mayan pyramids, often broader and less steep, served primarily religious purposes, hosting rituals and sacrifices at their summits, often accessible via a series of steps.
This is something, again, that's not widely known. A Judaic community in Ethiopia, they say that their ancestors brought the Ark of the Covenant to Ethiopia.
We're told this in great depth in the Bible and how dangerous that energy is. Well, this concept of winged figures is also very much part of the ancient Egyptian heritage.
So, what exactly is this Ark of the Covenant that everyone keeps talking about? Well, the Bible describes it as a pretty impressive piece of religious furniture. Imagine a chest made of wood but completely overlaid with gold. And that's not all. It had a fancy lid with 2 golden angels facing each other. But its importance wasn't about its bling factor. Inside this chest were the stone tablets containing the 10 Commandments, the foundation of the agreement between God and his chosen people. The Ark wasn't just a box, it was the holiest of holies. It represented God's presence among them. The Bible even gives super specific instructions on how it should be built and handled. Only certain priests were allowed to carry it, and they had to use poles, so no direct touching. Initially, the Ark was kept in a portable tent-like structure called the Tabernacle during their desert travels. Later, it got a permanent upgrade when King Solomon built his temple in Jerusalem, where it rested in the super-sacred inner sanctum. For centuries, the Ark of the Covenant has been a source of endless fascination. This legendary golden chest, as described in the Bible, housed the tablets of the 10 Commandments and symbolized God's presence among his people. But since its disappearance after the Babylonian conquest of Jerusalem, its fate has been shrouded in mystery. Now imagine the headlines. Scientists have pinpointed the Ark's location, ready to reveal one of the greatest archaeological discoveries ever. Or have they? The world of Ark of the Covenant theories is a tangled web of historical speculation, passionate belief, and some outright wild ideas. While serious scholars generally focus on the likely destruction of the Ark in antiquity, the excitement of uncovering this legendary artifact leads to an array of persistent, if often far-fetched, claims about its whereabouts. Let's dive into the supposed secret locations, and why the fascination with the Ark refuses to die. Jerusalem, the heart of the Ark's story, remains a prime focus of speculation. The Temple Mount, The site of the ancient Jewish temples is a maze of tunnels and chambers. Could the Ark be hidden in these unexplored depths? Some historical anecdotes lend a sliver of credence to this idea. Prior to the Roman siege in 70 AD, Jewish priests might have taken extraordinary measures to protect the Ark. This opens the door to legends of secret passages and hidden vaults beneath the sacred site. For the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the question of the Ark's location is settled. They believe it resides in the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Aksum. According to their tradition, the Ark was brought to Ethiopia by Menelik I, the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. The Ark is never displayed and is closely guarded, making verification of this claim impossible. However, even the possibility of the Ark's existence in Ethiopia holds immense religious importance as a tangible connection to the object at the heart of Jewish and Christian traditions. Where mainstream archaeology often reaches a dead end, conspiracy theories rush in. One popular narrative involves the Knights Templar, medieval warrior monks who amassed wealth and influence during the Crusades. Did they uncover the Ark in Jerusalem and bring it back to Europe? Though there's no historical support, this idea fuels thrilling stories like the Da Vinci Code, where secret societies and hidden lineages protect the Ark and its supposed extraordinary power. Beyond the Templars, other groups like the Freemasons get drawn into the orbit of the Ark of the Covenant. Conspiracy theorists often imagine these societies as possessing esoteric knowledge, wielding the Ark as a tool of influence or hiding it for their own ends. Some theories go fully into the realm of the fantastical. Think of the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the Ark possesses terrifying destructive might. These ideas stem from biblical passages warning of the danger of approaching the Ark improperly. Could it be a weapon, a repository of supernatural energy? For some, these exaggerated readings open the door to outlandish speculations. The supposed locations of the Ark take us on a global tour. Some theories link the Ark to the Lemba people of southern Africa, who have cultural practices and genetic markers suggesting a possible Middle Eastern origin. Did their ancestors bring the Ark with them on a long-ago migration? Other legends place the Ark in Rome, plundered by the legions who sacked Jerusalem in 70 AD, and rumored to lie hidden beneath the churches or even within the Vatican's vast archives. Stranger still, some claims take the Ark off-planet entirely, painting its origins as extraterrestrial technology gifted to ancient humanity. The classic rectangular chest shape sometimes draws comparisons to Egyptian ritual boxes as well. The Ark's allure persists in its unique blend of power, danger, and the thrill of an unresolved mystery. But where does this perception of power come from? And how has it shaped our understanding of the Ark across time? The Bible itself is the source of the Ark's awe-inspiring reputation. It's not just an object, it's described as a conduit for divine presence. The elaborate rituals for handling it and the stories of dire consequences for touching it, like the unfortunate Uzzah, reinforce the idea that this wasn't merely a fancy storage container. While mainstream science rejects the notion of the Ark as a literal weapon, it doesn't stop some outlandish theories. Ideas about electrical charges, radioactivity, or unknown materials try to explain away the Ark's biblical effects. Whether credible or not, these attempts add to the Ark's mystique. There's always that lingering question in the back of one's mind. What if? Fascinatingly, the concept of sacred chests isn't unique to the Israelites. Ancient Egypt brimmed with portable deity shrines, and other cultures used similar boxes in religious processions. Could the Ark, rather than being wholly unique, be part of a broader cultural tradition from its time period? This adds another layer of complexity and historical grounding to the Ark's story. Even in other Abrahamic faiths, echoes of the Ark's significance linger. The Quran's references to a sacred chest with relics could be a trace of shared tradition. The Baha'i faith goes even further, transforming the Ark entirely into a metaphor for the divine knowledge revealed by prophets throughout history. This shows how potent the Ark's core symbolism remains. Over time, did the Ark shift from a physical object to a symbol of the covenant itself? Replicas might have existed, powerful in their spiritual weight even if no longer containing the original tablets. Medieval art depicts the Ark with dramatic flair, influencing modern representations despite often diverging from biblical descriptions. And of course, pop culture loves the Ark. Remember Indiana Jones and his face-melting encounter? It's the perfect mix of historical enigma and a touch of the supernatural, a guaranteed recipe for a thrilling adventure. This potent mix of history, mystery, and the sheer potential for thrilling narratives keeps the Ark's flame alive. But why does the Ark of the Covenant hold such power over our imaginations? Here's the key. Historical gaps exist. Its disappearance during a turbulent time leaves ample space for speculation. Did it perish? Does it lay waiting to be unearthed? The uncertainty is a blank canvas where theories can easily take root. Whether one approaches the Ark from a perspective of faith or historical curiosity, it represents something profound, a connection to the divine, a symbol of God's covenant with the Israelites, or a relic of a bygone era. This emotional and spiritual dimension adds fuel to the quest. Secret societies, hidden clues, quests against the odds, all these elements make for gripping tales. The Ark is embedded in a storytelling tradition that, while not always historically accurate, is undeniably captivating. Deep down, we are drawn to the unsolved, the mysterious. The Ark, straddling history and legend, is the ultimate archaeological puzzle that may never have a definitive answer. While scientists discover makes for a thrilling headline, it's crucial to inject a dose of realism into the Ark of the Covenant narrative. Most reputable archaeologists view the Babylonian destruction of the First Temple in 587 BC as the most likely end of the Ark. While not impossible, the survival of an intricately crafted, gold-covered wooden object over millennia, through battles and sieges, seems improbable. Locations based on legends often lack physical evidence to support archaeological exploration. Claims need tangible proof to transition from speculation to scientific process. Additionally, many of the places rumored to hold the Ark are actively used for worship. The search cannot come at the expense of violating religious sensitivities or disrupting communities built on deeply held beliefs. The Ark of the Covenant sits fascinatingly on the line between history, faith, and the enduring human desire to uncover the extraordinary. It's unlikely that any future discovery will fully satisfy everyone. After all, the enduring power of the Ark rests partly in its enigma. Is there a chance the Ark is still out there? Perhaps. But the true treasure might lie in what this ongoing search reveals about ourselves, our need for stories, our reverence for the past, and our unending capacity for wonder.
We have this curious stonework, and we also have it at Alakahoyuk in Turkey. Exactly the same kind of thing. Is this a coincidence, or is there something going on behind the scenes of history that we've not been fully informed about yet?
Perched high atop the rugged peaks of the Taurus Mountains in southeastern Turkey, the tomb of King Antiochus Theos of Commagene at Mount Nemrut beckons with the whispers of ancient secrets and celestial mysteries. Erected over 2 millennia ago, this monumental sanctuary is not only a marvel of Hellenistic engineering, but also a cryptic canvas of colossal gods and inscriptions that blend the myths of East and West. As the sun rises and sets, aligning perfectly with the stone behemoths that guard this sacred summit, the mystery deepens. What divine ambitions did this forgotten king harbor, and what secrets lie buried beneath these stone giants, silently watching over the empire of Commagene? For centuries, the towering statues of Mount Nemrut stood silently, known only to the local people who wove their existence into the fabric of local myths, calling it the throne of the gods. This mix of reverence and legend kept the site tucked away in the annals of folklore until a twist of fate brought it back into the light. In the 1880s, Karl Sester, a German road engineer working on infrastructure projects for the Ottoman Empire, stumbled upon these majestic relics not out of archaeological zeal, but through sheer happenstance. His subsequent sketches and reports were the first to unveil the grandeur of Nemrut's statues to the Western world, sparking a wave of interest among European archaeologists and historians. The rediscovery of Mount Nemrut set the stage for a series of explorations that would delve deeper into its historical and cultural contexts. Shortly after Sester, Osman Hamdi Bey, an Ottoman archaeologist and painter, conducted more systematic studies at the site. He proposed that the Grand Mound could very well be the tomb of King Antiochus III of Commagene, an idea supported by the inscriptions and formidable statues that guard the site. This period marked a significant turning point, drawing a flurry of academic expeditions that pieced together the narrative of King Antiochus I, while enriching the field of Near Eastern archaeology. The artistic styles of the statues, with their blend of Persian, Hellenistic, and indigenous elements, provide a fascinating glimpse into the cultural interplay of the Hellenistic period, post-Alexander the Great's conquests. This fusion of artistic influences offers a window into the dynamic cultural exchanges of the era, further underscoring the historical significance of southeastern Turkey as a cultural crossroads. Perched at an altitude of 2,134 meters in the rugged Taurus Mountains, Mount Nemrut commands a view that stretches vast and wide, overseeing the Euphrates River Valley. This strategic and visual dominance was no accident. It was a clear symbol of power and divine status, meticulously chosen by King Antiochus I. The site's layout, with its statues and burial mound aligned to catch the rays of the rising sun during the equinox and the setting sun at the summer solstice, underscores the solar worship prevalent during Antiochus's reign. This astronomical alignment not only highlights the king's desire to link himself with the cosmos, but also speaks volumes about the sophisticated understanding of celestial patterns by ancient civilizations. The mystical heights of Mount Nemrut in southeastern Turkey are not only a testament to ancient engineering, but also to the pioneering spirit of those who have uncovered its secrets. In 1953, American archaeologist Teresa Girl began a systematic exploration of this enigmatic site, which was particularly groundbreaking as it was one of the first major archaeological projects led by a woman. Her work, supported by institutions like the Bollingen Foundation, the American Philosophical Society, and later the National Geographic Society, was crucial for the sustained excavation and research that would follow. Despite numerous challenges, including harsh weather conditions and logistical issues in transporting equipment up the mountain, Girl's team persevered. Using traditional excavation techniques, Girl and her crew were meticulous in their approach, ensuring the integrity of every artifact and structure discovered. Their efforts unveiled not just the colossal statues, but also a series of reliefs and inscriptions that illuminated the cultural and religious life of the Kingdom of Commagene. These findings were pivotal in confirming that the tumulus was indeed the burial site of Antiochus III, aligning with earlier hypotheses about the site's purpose. As archaeological methods advanced, later explorations at Mount Nemrut incorporated technologies such as digital mapping and photogrammetry. These tools allowed archaeologists to capture high-resolution images of the site, which facilitated precise measurements and detailed records of the statues and inscriptions without risking physical damage. Techniques like ground-penetrating radar and electrical resistivity tomography were also employed to probe the internal structure of the tumulus, searching for potential burial chambers or other archaeological features without the need for invasive digging. Further studies have focused on the astronomical significance of the site's layout. Researchers suggest that the arrangement of the statues may align with the rising and setting of the sun during solstices and equinoxes, hinting at these events' religious or ceremonial importance in Antiochus's ideology. From the tomb of Antiochus the Bioan at Mount Nemrut to the pyramids of Giza in Egypt, there lies a fascinating comparison. Both sites were built as tombs for their respective rulers, serving as monumental tributes to their power and divine status. However, while the pyramids are primarily massive stone structures designed to house the pharaoh's remains and belongings for the afterlife, Mount Nemrut combines burial purposes with a religious sanctuary, featuring colossal statues that showcase a blend of Hellenistic and Persian influences. Moreover, both sites exhibit significant astronomical alignments. The pyramids are meticulously aligned to the cardinal points, possibly reflecting celestial phenomena, while Nemrut's layout seems to focus on solar events, emphasizing the importance of astronomy in ancient religious and burial practices. This fascinating alignment hints at a deeper connection between celestial phenomena and the divine rites of ancient rulers, suggesting that these majestic sites were not only final resting places, but also key to understanding the cosmos itself. The artifacts and inscriptions unearthed at Mount Nemrut serve as crucial pieces in piecing together the reign of Antiochus the Theos and the syncretic fabric of the Commagene kingdom. It's truly fascinating how these discoveries offer deep insights into his ambitions and ideological foundations. The inscriptions on Mount Nemrut are a linguistic blend of Greek and Persian, underscoring the dual influences that shaped the kingdom. Greek served as the lingua franca of the broader Hellenistic world, while Persian reflected the local traditions and the legacy of the Achaemenid Empire from which Commagene emerged. Delving deeper into the inscriptions, they frequently include detailed genealogies that link Antiochus to deities and illustrious rulers. This not only legitimized his rule, but also positioned him as a cultural and celestial bridge. Among these, the Nomos of Antiochus inscription is particularly noteworthy. This foundational text outlined the religious and administrative laws Antiochus established, detailing ritual practices and festivals to honor him alongside the gods after his death, effectively creating a state religion that deified the king. Turning our gaze to the statues and reliefs, the iconography at Mount Nemrut is nothing short of spectacular. The statues depict Antiochus the Titan alongside a pantheon of gods such as Zeus Oromasdes, Apollo Mithras, and Hercules Artagnes, merging Greek and Persian divine figures. These statues are not only colossal but intricately carved from stone, showcasing a blend of artistic styles that highlight Antiochus's role as a mediator between his people and the divine. This symbolic placement elevates him to a semi-divine status, visually asserting his place in the cosmic order. An interesting parallel can be drawn between the statues at Mount Nemrut and China's terracotta army. Both serve profound funerary and commemorative purposes, standing as guardians over the afterlives of their respective rulers and as monumental tributes to their divine status. However, while the terracotta army underscores the military might of the Chinese emperor, the statues at Mount Nemrut emphasize a blend of military prowess and divine wisdom, reflecting Antiochus's unique approach to rulership. Moreover, one of the most captivating theories about Mount Nemrut concerns its astronomical alignment. Researchers suggest that the arrangement of the statues and the tumulus itself may align with astronomical phenomena such as solstices and equinoxes. This alignment might mark significant dates like Antiochus's birthday or coronation day, or serve to highlight seasonal festivals that